Right, we have to talk about Liverpool's new midfield. Today, Liverpool have bid 34 million quid for Romeo Lavia. And in the same 24-hour period, Fabinho, one of the great defensive midfielders of his generation, has left to join Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. It's a massive, massive move. In this video, we're going to talk about both moves and, of course, where Liverpool's midfield will be going into next season. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Let's just start off with Lavia, someone that I know is a City fan, someone that impressed majorly in the academy. And that's why he got that massive, relatively speaking, massive move from academy football to Southampton. And that's why he's on a massive long-term contract. He's got 4 years left on his deal. Liverpool have already bid £32 million. I think Southampton want 50 million quid for a relegated midfielder. And we saw at the start of last season when he played against Chelsea, and Chelsea... Suddenly, Todd Bowley was looking at him thinking, who's that? I want him, as well as 50 other footballers. Lavia is a massively, massively exciting transfer. When Arsenal were linked with him, even very few rumblings of City trying to maybe get him back and obviously have first option on a buyback clause. No idea why we're not doing that. I think Liverpool looks like his likely destination. I think it's absolutely fantastic for Jurgen Klopp. He's exactly the kind of midfielder that they need. He is a younger version of Fabinho. We'll talk about Fabinho in a minute and his legacy at Liverpool Football Club. But Lavia covers the ground so well. I remember the game against Arsenal where he was kind of doing the work. It was him and James Ward-Prowse at points in a 2. A lot of midfields in the Premier League last season and the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years have 3 central midfielders, of course, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, however you want to look at it. And he was kind of playing in 4-4-2 at points, playing almost just with him and James Ward-Prowse, and he was covering the ground so well. And then you look at what he does on the ball, and you can tell he's a City Academy graduate. You feel that almost anyone that comes out of the City Academy has got this kind of quality on the ball, it's almost like a certain standard that comes out of the City Academy that Lavia certainly has. He's by far the most exciting product who now has left the City Academy. I'm not going to include Jadon Sancho for obvious reasons. Again, I think if he went to Liverpool, I think Jurgen Klopp could put an arm around him, make him a malleable kind of midfielder that he could train and literally put into any role that he want. And look at Fabinho, who came in. I think at Monaco, at various points, he was a right back and sometimes a centre back and a bit of a midfielder, box to box. You felt that at Liverpool, when he honed down Fabinho, got his arm around him, obviously struggled massively, Fabinho, in his first year at Liverpool. He became world class. There's no question about it. I think Lavia's got that ability. He's got the ceiling. Lavia's got the ceiling to be world class. He's got the ceiling to be the most exciting transfer of any midfielder this summer, in my opinion, in the Premier League. I know Declan Rice is gone. I know there's a few others that are going. And actually, Liverpool are linked to another Brazilian League Fluminense midfielder in Andre. But Lavia, mark my words, would be top of the list for who I'd find so exciting. Again, I've talked about that he covers ground, but he's got an eye for a goal on his day. He's got a great passing range. He's just such an exciting midfielder. And at his age category, I mean, this kid's so young. Liverpool wouldn't go amiss signing someone for that kind of money. But what world are we living in? What world are we living in? Southampton want 50 million quid for a relegated midfielder. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. I mean, Southampton, something so unlikable about them. I know they deserve to hold on to their assets, but it feels like if James Ward-Prowse and Lavia are there next season, it's absolutely ridiculous. They deserve to be playing Premier League football. If he gets priced out of a move to play proper football and not be playing against Huddersfield, Neil Warnock next season, Cardiff, that's just how I see it. I think Lavia deserves the move. He was operating at top 5, top 6 club level in midfield for one of the worst sides the Premier League has ever seen. Let's move on to Fabinho. He's gone to Al Ittihad. Liverpool got 40 million quid for that. It's unbelievable. Last season, he was absolutely shocking. His first season for Liverpool, he was absolutely shocking. And then there's this kind of bookmark in the middle that's very thick, very successful, and actually marks Fabinho as one of the best defensive midfielders I've ever seen in my life. That's just the reality. Obviously, it took him a year to adjust. Fair play. He played against City for Monaco. He's absolutely incredible. He is combative. He was aggressive. And when Liverpool won the Champions League, there was this kind of, even when they got to the final with Karius and stuff like that, when they smashed City in the quarter-final, there was this kind of pressure, this kind of fitness that this Liverpool midfield had. They'd swarm you, they'd dominate you in terms of their legs, in terms of how they could carry the ball. Henderson, Fabinho, Oxlade-Chamberlain at points. You think about Thiago Alcantara when Liverpool won the Premier League. Absolutely incredible on their day. It's a sad day for Liverpool fans. I think Fabinho was, again, a massive asset. Something happened last season. Is it burnout? Is it that kind of... Look at Kante, how he kind of, after a couple of seasons, kind of burnt away a little bit. Is it that kind of position where it's so combative, so hard on the legs? That might be a bit of an issue for those kind of positions, especially for Jurgen Klopp. But there's no question Fabinho goes down as one of the great defensive midfielders in Liverpool's history, in Liverpool's modern history. And he leaves with an unbelievable offer from Saudi Arabia. This guy, from my understanding, is close to 450 grand a week out Ittihad. Obviously, better Karim Benzema's side. So Saudi Arabia, again, have come in and picked up a very astute bit of business. He'll raise the profile in that country. He'll raise the standard. It's not all about having a million Benzemas up front on big, glossy wages. To make a real league in Saudi Arabia, you're going to need Fabinho to just have some quality throughout the pitch. Obviously, he'll be in the same league as Firmino. He'll be in the same league as half the Premier League. That's just the reality that Fabinho will be looking at. But there's no question in my mind, on his day, he was absolutely superb. 219 games for Liverpool, Champions League winner, Premier League winner, all the domestic cups. And there's just something about how nasty he was in the challenge, something about how quiet he was. I felt he went around his business in a very humble way. And then his quality on the ball, he scored some unbelievable goals from long range for Liverpool. And his link-up play was absolutely superb as well. There's a period he was the best defensive midfielder in world football. I think Jurgen Klopp kind of built his side around him more than Henderson. That's how I see it. Very keen to see what you think in the comments down below. Liverpool's new midfield: McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones with a new lease of life, Harvey Elliott, 1 year younger, 1 year more experienced, and then now potentially Romeo Lavia. It's a very interesting and exciting period for Liverpool. They have to make these kind of moneyball signings. They have to be a little bit cheeky. They might not have wanted to have moved so many players on so quickly, but actually they might have had to, because they can't go out. They can't hold on to Henderson and Fabinho, lose out on the money that they would have gotten from Saudi Arabia, and they can't go out and be kind of as massive in the market as Chelsea and City. So I think they're being very astute. It's a bit risky going into a whole new season with a whole new midfield, but I think they'll get over the line. Jurgen Klopp is the greatest manager in the world, pound for pound, in my opinion. Very keen to what you think in the comments down below. Fabinho's left. Lavia is on his way in to Liverpool Football Club.